McAllister's linked to move away. Curtis Jones is linked to move away. Gakpo's linked to move away. You look at the squad and it's empty. And by the way, this Gakpo stuff is getting dangerous. Why? Because a day ago, and you guys know this because you are all on Twitter, Fabrizio Romano doesn't tweet stuff for no reason. When Fabrizio says something, he's going to quote tweet it a week later when it happens and tell you that he told you that this is going to happen. Once again, he says Gakpo is a priority signing for Tottenham. Once again, he said it. This is not new. This is like the 5th time he's mentioned it this summer about this Gakpo to Spurs thing. So if I'm going to be objective about this, Enzo wanted to go to Real Madrid. They rejected him. If it's McAllister that goes to Madrid, and objectively Curtis Jones has been linked to Inter Milan all summer, if he leaves and Gakpo goes to Spurs, my squad is down to bare bones. Like literally bare bones. Like it's just not good at all.
But Husam, can I say, all right, say for example, we lost Gakpo but replaced him with Barcola. We lost Jones but replaced him with Kone, and we lost McAllister and replaced him with Buadi. Could you not make the argument that you've actually improved the squad even though you've...
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying we're in the grey area. See?
No,
we agree.
So again,
me and you are in complete alignment, by the way. We agree.
Yeah, and again, I hear what you and Tom are saying in terms.
But even then, I can't expect us to win the league. By the way,
no.
Even
I hear
in the scenario you just mentioned, you want to know why? Because these players aren't experienced at it.
I hear it, and this is why I'm not putting that sort of pressure on Iraola to say he's got to win it in his first season. But what I will say, another thing that where I hear where you and Tom are coming from in terms of you don't want to make too much changes summer. I get it, but again, wouldn't it be better to make the change now while we have a fresh manager, so we can have a year to bed in these new players, and then from next season he goes, I've got my core group now. I'm going to go for it. And all I've got to do is add maybe 1 or 2 top players.
Once again, I agree with you. That's why I told Tom I don't want a stopgap, because I feel like here's why when a stopgap makes sense. If I've got everything good, I get one stopgap player so I can still achieve my objective anyway. But now I'm at a stage where I feel like a stopgap is pointless, because guess what? The prices of the midfielders aren't going to go down anyway. They're probably going to go up, if anything. Let's sign the players that are potential players anyway, like even like a Joao Gomez, you know, a cheap option like that. Sign players like that.
That's kind of a stopgap, though.
Why is Joao Gomez a stopgap in your opinion, so?
Because
I don't think we'd have to sign that many stopgaps, in my opinion, even if they're not.
So what I call a stopgap, what I call a stopgap is a guy that you buy him now and he can have a positive impact on your first team. And I will use Bowen as an example here, Cal. You could sign Bowen right now and he goes in and starts on the right wing.
I don't represent Bowen, you know. I just rate the player.
You might as well.
You're the Bowen guy online now. Just you have to.
You buy him. He comes in, and for the next, he's 29 now. You can get him to 32. That gives you 3 years of relatively guaranteed security on the right wing. What that also does, though, is let's say next year Rodrigo becomes available for a cut for like 70 million quid. He comes back from his knee injury. He's fine. It's like he's never left. Comes back. He's available for 70 million quid. You can go and still get him because you haven't blocked yourself off by buying your project for
You're
that
in
position.
cuckoo land, though.
How am I in cuckoo land?
Because Rodrigo will never be available for 70 million.
It was an example. I'm saying your long-term guy could become available, and your stopgap doesn't stop you from doing that, because Sam, you know this as well as I do. If Liverpool bought Yankuba Minte this summer for 80 million quid,
God!
And then Ryan became available next summer, and he had a stunning Premier League season. He became available next summer. We wouldn't do it because we've already bought Minte.
Mr. Prices, you know, because since you say it's about the prices and they don't believe in the prices, if Ryan has a really good season at Bournemouth again, how much will they want for him? They want 100 now. Imagine after another good season, 120, 130.
They want 100. They'll want 100 because that's his release clause.
Stop it, Thomas.
Quick question. I know you guys are talking about like stopgap and how you're saying you would rather a squad overhaul now. But what if I said we do the primary of our shopping this window and then we do the rest of our shopping in the following summer? Because I kind of feel like that's what Tom's trying to say. He's trying to say, if we could do some of it now, the bulk of it, but then we do the rest next summer. Because let's say you do it all in one summer, there is still that possibility that if Iraola does get it wrong, and we've made all the bulk of changes in one summer, obviously players don't have experience. We're bringing in younger players. Imagine if we just like plummet below 5th or 6th, because then you guys would say, do you know what? All right, I understand. You know, we were going to do this, but look what's happened now.
But
We've
Matt,
made all this
that's
change.
the problem with Tom's scenario, actually, not me and Callum's scenario.
Yeah,
How's that the problem with my one?
If I do what Tom wants, we could plummet below 5th.
That's what I was going to say. I think
Because we have to improve the squad.
So that comes down to your assessments of the players that you have, though. So maybe I'm being too generous with the play. I think that you'll see a lot of players bounce back under a better manager who
That's
plays
what I think as well.
a more comfortable style of football. If that's the case, I know that the average level of this squad, when they're back to what they were, I'm going to say last year of Klopp, should we say, not the first year of Slot, that was, Slot took you there and there. The average is about there, which is probably last year of Klopp, first little bit of Slot type thing. If I can get my players back to that level, do you know what I'm looking at there? I'm looking at comfortably the 3rd best team in the league, even with all the signings that other teams have made, and one that's closer to 2nd and 1st.
But are you still saying to go?
I still think though that you need to add the players alongside it. We need to go into next season as close to a 25-man squad.
We can't say that about the squad right now, because the squad that finished with Klopp and started with Slot, again, RIP, no Diogo Jota, no Luis Diaz, no Trent, no Konate, no Salah, no Robbo. Like, those 6 players, like, they ain't been replaced really. Like, with all due respect, they ain't no, we brought in players, but all right. Again, don't make me go down this road, Tom. Had Frimpong replaced Trent?
No.
So again, just because we brought in a player to cover the same,
I'll agree on that one. Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Trent. Like, we ain't really replaced some of these players.
That's one example. Yeah,
Luis Diaz hasn't been replaced.
Yep, hasn't been replaced in the market. No, yeah, I agree.
Again, RP.
The strikers have been replaced.
To go to your point, Trent was replaced by Conor Bradley.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't been, man. I know what you're doing there.
Carl, let me say this.
That's your petty side coming out. That's your petty side.
It's not. The Liverpool fans wanted a saviour. Because Trent left, they propped him up as Conor Bradley is replacing Trent. Tell me I'm lying. That was our fan base. That's what we was on. And then Frimpong was theoretically the backup to Conor Bradley, because Conor Bradley was supposed to push on, be the first choice right back, but unfortunately he got injured and obviously again didn't hit form like a lot of our players. So Frimpong kind of was just supposed to be the second choice right back. It was supposed to be Conor Bradley, bro. Tell me I'm lying, Cal.
No, you're not. But again, we know that shouldn't have been the case. So and again, like, Fabinho still hasn't been replaced.
No, he hasn't. That's correct.
And I know people always go and be like, yeah, but Grav replaced him when we won the league that season. For 6 months, Grav was magnificent. Yeah. But if we're looking at Grav's whole tenure at Liverpool Football Club, I can't just look at 6 months and judge his whole tenure by that 6 months.
Quick question. So let's cut you again, Cal. Quick question. We're talking about, Tom saying stopgap. Let me ask you this. Let's say Curtis Jones left today, but we were the ones that bought Yuri Tillman. Would you have been happy with that stopgap? Because he's 29 years old. He's not going to be here for years and years and years, but he's got good quality now. Would you have been happy with that? Or would you have been like, nah, we should have went and got, for example, Buwadi or Manu Kone or someone like that?
Yeah, I'd be.
Would you be annoyed?
Confused by the move. As a footballer,
it's different when you're losing a player like Curtis Jones compared to.
I'm just asking a question, by the way.
I'm on about stopgaps where right now I haven't got a solution. So I want a stopgap potentially for right wing, because I think the market's awful for right wing in terms of getting a guy that I could see holding that down for Liverpool for the next 5 years. I don't think there's a guy for that on the market right now. So either what you do is you go get there's 3 options that the club can take. They can either gamble on one of the guys that is supposed to be that, like a Minte or a Conceição, hope they take some leap and become that. No. I don't think that's a smart thing to do. The next option they could do is what Husam says, which I'm not entirely against, but I think it's a gamble of going and getting an 18-year-old, 19-year-old who could be the next big thing. And
no. Just to clarify, my scenario is get Barcola.
No. You were talking about what you would do in certain positions is go get the next up and coming guy type thing, weren't it? That's your solution. That could be
Basically,
your solution on the right.
we should have got Esteval, like someone like that. You know, like
Mbaye or something like that. Go find an 18-year-old, 19-year-old.
I don't understand this club.
It just feels like we're taking so many unnecessary risks. Like centre back for me is one of the biggest risks. Right back feels like a risk. Centre midfielder almost feels like a risk, and the attack is just in the shambles at the moment. It just feels like we're taking so many risks that aren't necessary. Like again, people sit there and say we've got 4 centre backs. I don't even like doing this to our players, but I'm just being real, and I know I'm going to get called whiny and bitchy and all those things in the comment. Fairs, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. But our 4 centre backs, where would they rank in the Premier League compared to other teams' 4 centre backs?
Leone's had 1 game, can't rank him. Xhaka hasn't even played a game of football, but you got to look at Xhaka, how Man United fans remember when they got Euro. So
I'm
pretty
sure Euro played more minutes than Xhaka has.
Yeah. So he's potential. Joe Gomez is my guy, but he's always injured. You can't trust him, unfortunately. And then you've got an aging Van Dijk who's still of quality, but obviously he's a year older. He's come off the back of a bad season in his standard and off the back of a World Cup that's more minutes under the legs as well. But our centre-back situation is dark.
Dire. And Iraola said that Leone isn't fit as well.
We're going to have to go and bring in some of the youngsters like Ndakwi and flipping... Who's the other one that we bought?
Talon, Noor.
One of them will be 5th choice, should I bet?
And this is why I keep on saying it. The risk is high because I keep on getting told... Like, again, I'll ask the question. Arsenal's 4 centre-backs, they're way above ours.
Yeah.
Man City's way above ours. There's an argument right now, as we're sitting here right now, that Spurs' 4 centre-backs are better than ours.
But Cal, we do this every single year at Liverpool. Do you know what happens over the years?
Is that not a worry? Does that not worry anyone, or is it just
Cal,
me?
hear this. Couple of years, or how many years ago now, whatever, the midfield. Remember when all of our midfielders all aged at the same, obviously, like they're all aged at a point where we had to replace all of them in one window. The same thing has now happened for the centre-back situation, but different players have left, whatever. But it's the same thing. It's like we needed a whole revamp of the centre-back situation. We needed a revamp of the winger situation. We always leave it until the player leaves, and then we go, how are we going to replace them? Like you've been saying for time, and I know Sam said it, Tom said it. What Liverpool have to stop doing is waiting for the player to leave and then go, all right, what are we going to do about that now? Why can't we do these things while the players are still here? Now, I'm not saying complete overhauls, but you see, when you've got players like a McAllister, who you think to yourself, all right, cool. If we can see from the data perspective that he might be on a slight decline, maybe we've got to bring in someone. A bit like how when we knew Gini was leaving, but Liverpool brought in Thiago. You see, like you keep it rolling. A conveyor belt, but we never do the conveyor belt stuff. It's so jarring.
I'll be honest. I do think they've got a new plan for the succession planning at Liverpool long term. It's just going to be their focus for succession planning is mainly going to be getting these really high promising youngsters from other academies, bringing them to our academy at 15, 16, letting them develop in our system for 2-3 years, and then trying to integrate them into the squad potentially. Rather than, I think that's the way they want to go with the youth recruitment. I think that's why they're working so heavily on it. Maybe I'm not too worried at this point in time. Maybe that's just, maybe
You're worried.
That. I'm not worried yet
about the centre back situation.
No, I'm. The ideas worry me, but the situation, I'm not worried. I'm not panicking.
The season starts in a month, literally. Like,
yeah, I know the season starts in a month. We're not the only club to have made few signings.
No, I hear that, Tom.
I'm not worried that we're not going to do business.
So what do you expect of Liverpool then? Top 5 and good football?
Yeah, what's your expectation in terms of like
next season?
Yeah.
Because when push comes to shove, if someone asks me right now who I think is going to win the league, I'm going to say Arsenal. And then people in the chat are going to go like, you're blazing. But that's the reality.
Yeah. For me, I think a successful season next season would be something like what Klopp did in his last year, if you remember. A solid third place finish,
off and then win a domestic.
Win a domestic, and rather than Europa League, have a good run in the Champions League. Showcase your quality in the Champions League, reach the quarters of the Champions League, the semis of the Champions League, something like that. Because we are always historically a good team in the Champions League like that. So That's for me what I'm expecting. I'm also not ruling out though that if things fall our way, it can be a mad season, because I do think that the bones of this squad, the core of this squad, there is still an awful lot there, and I just think that it was so misused under Arnie Slot that it's damaged the perceptions of a lot of players that I think just need an environment and a setup and a system like Iraiola's to return back to those high levels.
I understand what you're
That's what I
saying,
think it
Tom,
needs to be.
but coaching, in my opinion, can only go so far with the players that you have. You could coach your ass off, but
We
obviously,
saw it, Klopp.
the level of player,
players.
yeah, the level of play that we have. Like, so I'll give you an example. Right now, our starting 11 will be, if I quickly name it, it'll be Alisson in goal, Conor Bradley if he's fit at right back.
Frimpong. We gotta go Frimpong, man.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we've got to be realistic. Yeah,
right now, I have Alisson, Frimpong, Jake, Van Dijk, Kerkez, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Rio, Wirtz, Munoz, Isak.
By the way, Callum, this is exactly why, you know, when you guys were arguing, I'm in the middle between you both. This is exactly why I wouldn't sell anyone. Now, for me, as things stand today, the door to selling players at Liverpool would be completely closed. If I'm the sporting director, I'm not picking up a single phone call. I don't care if people are offering like 150 million. Like, I'm not selling anyone.
Would you not get rid of at least Endo and Chiesa though?
Those are irrelevant players.
Yeah,
That's like the broccolini on the plate. I don't care. I'm saying like the current players. I'm just not gonna sell anyone. I just don't. We think we have the capacity to sell players. We just don't. Like, I get it. Oh, McAllister's legs are gone. Go get this guy. You know, Gakpo's not good enough. Go get this guy. But I just think the core thing that Tom's talking about, like in terms of experience in a title running, if we sell all these players, we don't have that experience then.
But I think you'd be happy if we not sell all the players, but I think where I slightly different is you want to sell some, but you're replacing every single one. I'm not talking about you sell 4 players and only bring in 2, because we've done that too many times and we leave ourselves short, Husam. What I'm saying is, let's say, for example, we sold Endo, Curtis Jones, Gakpo, and Chiesa. I expect every single one of those players sold to be replaced by players that are better than every single one that we just sold. That's what I'll be expecting.
And again, we speak about experience. Manu Kone is playing in a World Cup now. Yeah. That's about as high as you can get.
Happily.
So, like, when we speak about experience, again, I know some of them wouldn't have Prem experience, etc., but some of them would have Champions League experience. Some of them would have international experience. So, and again, the whole Prem proven thing, I think, can be overplayed sometimes, because we see players move from different clubs in the Premier League and flop, and we see players from abroad come to the Premier League and flop. I have to look at my competition. And Tom, you said this key point that not a lot of other clubs have done much. With all due respect, going into the summer window, Arsenal didn't have to do much. Man City didn't have to do much. Man United, you could arguably say, did have to do quite a bit, but they're actually working on deals and doing said deals. We had a lot to do going into summer. We barely scratched the surface.